Thank you very much for the warm welcome and a very good evening to all of you. Uh, Today's program is typically a 4-hour program. So we are going to do a marathon of program in 1 hour. So I really hope you are able to catch up with the whole flow. So thank you very much for being present today. And yes, so let me start off. A quick background on myself. I founded this firm in 2001 with another partner of mine. We also run a payroll outsourcing company. So we run, just to give you an idea, so we run payroll, the back end payroll for BMW, Fonterra, and Fuel. So that's run by another partner of mine. But I'm now managing CnetG Asia, an executive search and leadership development company. Yes, we own our office in Malaysia and Thailand, but today, as part of a global network, we are present in 95 cities. This slide is a better way of describing myself. So you see, this is my, I'll run through with you later on your purpose. This is my purpose. So while my bread and butter is executive search, my greater purpose is really in diversity, equity, and inclusion, being more specific, promoting women on boards and leadership. And that's how I met Sue at the board profile writing. And I've written several articles. During the pandemic, I wrote about retaining and rebuilding to brave the storm, how global MNCs are retaining and rebuilding. I've written an article in 2020, just before the pandemic. Could be beginning of a new decade for women and a few others, right? So personally, I love to study about cross-cultural management, especially in Malaysia. It's very interesting. Gender diversity, how men and women differ in the corporate world and also in other areas. Yes. So what can you get out of this session? These are some of the testimonials I get. Now, I do this as part of a outreach program, but I also do a lot of these for leadership coaching for women and also men CEOs. Right? So many, you'll be surprised, it's not just you. So even people at the senior level, they're stuck in the career and they want to know how to reboot their whole career path. So when I've done it with them, the idea of today I'm sharing this is that when you go through this process, whether you are running a business, trust me, some of them have mentioned that they've got more business orders coming in, or you're looking for a job. These are the few comments that I've got, right? So as part of today's exercise, I will be leaving you with a homework. Now, many of us, men and women, especially women, once we graduate, we are like a hamster on a treadmill. We run and run and run and run at work, right? Come back, get married, then run and run and run for your father, husband, and then for your in-laws, and then for your children. How about yourself, right? And it's the same thing in men, right? You work and work and work. Has there been a time when you stop and ask yourself, okay, what have I achieved? What's my skills? What's my expertise? No. So then what happens is that when you look for a job, you just pop in all the words that you know in your CV, but not reflecting what are your actual expertise. So I do ask you, when you have time on a weekend, have a me time, lock yourself in a balcony with a nice glass of wine or your favorite drink, and list down your achievements, reflect yourself, what are your expertise. That will really differentiate you in your CV. That's the first tip I'm giving you. Right? Yeah, so hoping within this 45 minutes, I'll run through from bottom to top. Challenges in nailing the job, top 10 tips for resume, your resume as marketing tool, how to design your resume, crafting a compelling executive summary, drafting your achievements if we have time, social media visibility, and networking. Right? Now, one of the biggest challenges of speaking in this kind of forum is that it's boring, especially when you know that you're the only one speaking and the rest are like standing in this guy. Right? So I would really encourage the winners from today's events are those who are asking questions to make it interactive, so that you apply as I'm talking to you. I did mention to Joel, to ask you to bring your CV or your laptop so that you can practice as you go. Otherwise, you'll forget what I've learned. And that's my worry. That's when I told Joel, right? 1 hour theoretical knowledge is not going to make it, right? Ideally, I want you guys to go back with some changes we're going to make. And hopefully I hear from Joel or someone that, hey, our guys are doing well in their career. So if you have time, then I'll talk to you about social media visibility and networking. Yep, so if Shering can help me here, right? I would like to hear from you, right? What are the challenges in nailing that role? So Winston was saying that, or Winston, sorry, that he likes the title that I've used, nailing the job that you want. In other words, don't again run like a hamster on the treadmill, apply for 40 jobs, and then you hit your head. Why none of them call me up? No, I have people that I've applied for 40 jobs, right? No one called me up. What work do you do? How can you apply for 40 jobs? So you're not applying for the job that you want. They just bang, 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 bang. Of course, lah. No one's been applying. Nobody will call you. So nailing the job, why I'm saying that nailing the job is that first, looking for a job, a career change is a strategic approach. You must plan for it before you even send your resume. And how you plan for it is first knowing what you want, your purpose. I'll go into that, right? Knowing what's your real purpose. Those days, I'm sure those of my generation, I was born in 1971. So those days in Asian culture, you study, you go and find a job and you stay in your job, right? But people change as the world changes. Now the new generation, and even like us, you're asking yourself, is it worthwhile waking up at 6 a.m., go to work, come back 10 p.m.? What am I doing? So end of the day, we have a purpose to go for. So like myself, my purpose is diversity, inclusion, and so on, right? My work is executive search. My purpose is bigger purpose. So you must know that. So once you know your purpose, then you plan, okay, which job do I apply for that fulfills my purpose, so that you will never regret waking up in the morning going to work, right? If one day you wake up, she was saying that she enjoys the job. So yeah, if you're enjoying your job, then why change? But the moment you wake up in the morning dragging your feet, is the day not to resign it, it's the day for you to reflect what's wrong, right? So there shouldn't be that day, right? So yeah, so some of the challenges in nailing that role, I've dropped few, but I hope we can fill out the board. Will be too many applicants, crowded marketplace, right? Not having the reach. You applied, no one is calling you. But my friend got a job because his father is MD of a company or someone working in HR. Not many opportunities, not knowing what you really want. What else? What else do you think you have experienced from your experience, right? What are the challenges you have faced in getting a job? Any volunteers? Please help me. Yes.
Like bad employment history, like some conflicts with a previous company or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, that could be it. When the past history, the previous experience may not support you well, that could be another challenge. But okay, it also depends how you address that now, because people evolve as they go, right? Thanks. Anything else?
Transportation.
Yeah, transportation. Good point, huh? But now it's changing, right? People are now preferring to work near their housing area, and there are more and more companies are moving into residential areas. Any other challenges?
Dull and boring and don't see the future.
Sorry?
Dull and boring
Dull and boring.
and don't see the future.
Dull and boring, don't see the future.
Economic recession.
Who was that? Sorry.
Economic recession.
Oh, okay. Yeah, true. Economic recession.
Employer wanting 10 years of experience out of a junior.
Sorry?
With employer demanding quite a lot from a junior, from a fresh grad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, demanding employer. Demanding job. Nice handwriting. So I'm a Johanian. I studied in St. John's. So we all trained on cursive writing. Very similar handwriting. St. John's and VI. Yeah. So you could relate to it, right? And therefore the idea is to tell you that you're not alone. So all of us hardly are fully satisfied with our job search, right? But yeah, sorry.
Remote working, no teammates.
Yeah, correct. That could be a challenge also. Remote working, no teammates. So there are some companies, what they do is consciously organize once a week, makan-makan, so that you come together. Right? Again, new practices, new challenges, right? Great. Thanks for sharing all these points. So these challenges, some can be addressed, some are like, you got to do more homework, but I'll be going through that later. But the idea is going back now, right? Reflect back. You'll be more satisfied, you'll be more fulfilling, you get up, go to work when you know what you want. So take your time and apply. So my advice to people who told me that, I've applied to 40 companies, 60 companies, I don't get a job. I said, I think you don't know what you want, right? So every job that sounds like a finance manager, apply. Right? But trust me, when you know what you want, and then you apply for 3 jobs, you will get an interview for at least 1. And there's another challenge altogether after the interview, what you do, right? But I believe your resume speaks for you. So a lot of people write call it a CV. Yeah? So a lot of people write the CV like very boring. Now it's changed, Those days CVs are boring, but now it's like cool. So before they even call you for an interview, the first thing they know about you is through your resume. And if your resume is boring, they won't call you. Full stop. Right? Even if you go through a recruitment firm, right? These are like the likes of Michael Page, Robert Walters. Even they have a brief discussion with you and they share the brief discussion with their resume, right? Now, people like executive search firms, we spend more time with you doing interview and all that stuff. So we, at least you provide a report. We even ask you to rewrite a resume and put together, right? So then we speak on your behalf to our customer, right? In other words, end of the day is your resume. Even if you have contacts, right? I've heard of cases where the guy got a call because his father knows someone. But when the person interviewed him, he was disappointed. So what you have contacts, sometimes it works. Sometimes if your resume doesn't speak for you, then that is why it's all about knowing what you want and designing a resume. Okay, so this slide I shamelessly copied from online, but this is the best that describes what I'm talking about, purpose. Right? A lot of people, there are many similar slides, but I like this because it explains very well, like Ikigai, right? If you read the book on Ikigai, but end of the day is purpose, right? What I'm trying to say is, sometimes you have strengths, but just because that job allows you to apply the strength, it doesn't mean that you'll enjoy the job. First 1 year, you'll enjoy the job. Second year, you get tired, right? So understand the role between strengths. So I've got people asking me, Raj, I'm a finance manager, but I love communications. I want to move into communications. But hey, comms itself is also crowded. So how are you going to differentiate? But do you know that your comms skills is precious in finance industry? Because in finance, on the other hand, a lot of finance managers are more isolated. They are more introverts. More and more CEOs that speak to me, they want finance managers who are business partners. So why can't you use a skill to accelerate your career? Why didn't move into comms? So don't mix up strength and purpose, right? So this slide tells you, like, if I can point here, right? When you do a job which you're good at and you're getting paid, it's only a profession, right? When you do a job that the world needs, charity and so on, that's a vocation, right? But when you do a job that you love, that you're good at, right, that is passion, but you may not be getting the money for it, right? But when you do a job combining everything, right, you're good at, the world needs, you can be paid for, you love, is a passion, that is Ikigai. It means like the best. And you think it is impossible, but it's simplified version. It can be achieved. It's like planning for it and working towards it. It can be achieved. To be honest, now this firm that we're running is 21 years, right? Until now, I didn't realize, my team tells me that when I walk into the office, I'm still whistling in the morning. I whistle, I swipe, I whistle. I have fun. I've got tough clients, tough stuff, but I'm still, I love my job. I'm never tired, right? And today I'm speaking here, besides my full-time job, I'm in the steering committee of 30% Club Malaysia, where we promote women on boards. So I had an event last week. I call it my third shift. I'm the co-founder of Malaysian Women Energy. So we do a lot of work there. But I never get tired because it's like you keep on, in the Ikigai moment, right? So it's important for you to, even before you look for a job, do some self-reflection about this circle, right? You can easily find in Google, you call it, purpose and strength. You can find this chart now. In other words, do something that you're good at, that you love, the world needs, and you're being paid for. That's passion, the whole purpose, right? Okay, so the importance of a well-written resume. So now, right, for a while, take yourself out of that search for a job. Let's talk about your resume first, easier, right? Isolate it. It's the first source of information about you. Of course, then sometimes they go into LinkedIn and check. Right? After they see the resume, they go into LinkedIn and check. And some naughty employers check on Facebook. Right or wrong, to me, no need, but I do that if I have certain suspicion. I go and check their Facebook, right? But otherwise, no need. It's just LinkedIn, right? But I do check LinkedIn, right? It speaks to them on value you can bring to them. I'll go into that later, value, right? It highlights experiences and skills they are looking for, making them want you. Okay, so the other tip is, many times when we write resume, we write what we are good at. But you must write what I'm looking for. Don't write in your language, write in my language what I'm looking for. So it's about playing around the words, right? It highlights success stories as an outcome of your expertise and skills. How many of your resumes, I mean, you'd have done like, closed accounts in July, monthly accounts, but so what? So you got to ask yourself, so what? Has that shortened reporting time? Those are outcomes. So instead of saying what you do, say what are the outcomes you achieve. It's easily understood by them. It also brings up transferable skills that can be used across different functional industries. You forget that some of the work that you do have transferable skills that can be rolled into other industries, right? I was just talking to Shireen, right? So we are very strong in pharmaceutical and healthcare, right? And until now, there's always a shortage of medical directors. And these are not hospital medical, they are medical graduates. They would have practiced in hospital for 20 years. But the pharmaceutical industry like Pfizer, now you're very well aware with all the boosters vaccination, Pfizer and all these big brands, right? We have worked with them for many years. So they always look for medical directors in-house. So they move from practicing medicine to being in corporate because they need to understand science and also regulations and all stuff. So there's always a shortage. So what we do is we look for medical directors who are in the hospitals, who are tired of serving hospitals. And most of them tend to also be women who feel like at 40, 45, they want to take a different career. So transferable skills. So therefore, those transferable skills in corporate, medical directors are expected to be very extrovert, talk to everyone, cross-functional. So when we speak to medical directors from hospitals, not all of them have that trait. So we look for those who with those transferable traits, and we put them into AstraZeneca. We have hired for Pfizer medical directors, right? So those are what I meant, transferable skills, right? And it can act as a good pitching document for entrepreneurs or consultants if you're running a firm. So top 10 tips for writing a board or resume. First and foremost is no more the old CV, Times New Roman, very boring personal information. So please look at your resume. If your first page is personal information, including how many children you have, and then, people do that, huh? Yeah, some are very honest, 1 wife, 4 kids. No? Then followed by education, one whole list. Second page is your job. All these are old school, I'll tell you why. Maximize your prime real estate. So I'm coming to that. So if you ask me, I'm quite brutal. When my team went through my slides, sorry. I don't know what I did. Okay. They got worried I'm asking for money. I never asked for money. For further slides, please pay up now. 20 Flanders. Okay. Yeah. So the third tip is maximize your prime real estate. Okay. So when I was creating my slides for these talks, one of my slides, actually, my team said, "Boss, are you sure you're going to share this?" I said, to me, let me be informal, let me be relaxed. But I'm going to share you the hard truth, right? If you Google, you find similar results. People like us get CVs every day, you know. Okay, I get CVs when we're doing assignments, but people know me and send me CVs to my team, to me, through WhatsApp, through emails. We don't have time. Okay. So whether or not people send or whether or not I find people for my job, for my assignments, can you guess how long do I take to read the resume and decide to call for interview? How many minutes do I first resume? 2 minutes. You're a speed reader. 3 minutes. 3 seconds. Okay, hard truth. On Google it says 10 seconds. I take 6 seconds. Because we go through a lot of CVs, you have no time. So imagine, like, this is a hard truth, you know. So whoever is reading a CV, unless they're jobless or they're working from home, they've got a lot of time. Very quick they glance. So if you're a fresh graduate, then your CV is being read by HR exec. So your keywords are very important. So HR exec are also lazy people. They want to see not recorded. So they want to see all the keywords. The more senior you are, the more relevant a CV has to be. So your prime real estate, if you can imagine your CV, is your 1/3. So this is A4 paper, right? The 1/3 to half is your 1/3 max is your prime real estate. Therefore, if this prime real estate doesn't look attractive, I'll throw it off. Okay. So the first change you got to make if you have the traditional CV is that personal information and all that can go to the last page. Right? All that, don't worry. Those days we expect address because we see where you're coming from, which bus you're going to take, bus Lansing or Srijaya bus. Nowadays we don't care where you live. Right? So even address and phone numbers we don't need. But yeah, we need mobile number and email address. Right? So trust me, nowadays CVs that I see, personal information, very basic, 2 lines enough. Right? Education, qualification, last page. Right? But the first page will be a nice photo of yours, right? And with a executive summary. So many fresh graduates, they start with career summary, career objective. But if you're already a finance manager or your engineering manager, you don't have career objective. You already achieve your objective. So you should already use executive summary. You must have executive summary. So your photo will be here. Then your name, remember I told you it's a marketing tool. So your name is like a headline, you must shout out loud. Raj Kumar Paramanathan, I'll show you later. Right?
So actually, do you really need a photo?
Good point. Photo sells lah.
But it's not really fair, right? I don't put in mine lah, but I feel that it's kind of biases the hiring manager.
It's an advantage.
It's an advantage if you're pretty like Swiss.
No, but it's confidence. Confidence. Okay, but there's no good point. There's no right or wrong, right? The wrong is when you put a photo with a pasar malam baju lah. Hey, don't laugh. I've seen that. Huh? They got a photo with pasar malam baju, right? That's wrong lah. But if you have confidence, black jacket like this, a nice smile, right? And not some people like they use a Facebook photo in the car, like, so you can see they're inside the car. Come on, please. Right, you can see the chair, the headrest, and so on. Right? So a nice mug shot of yourself, a professional shot, right? Can be the boarding passport photo, or can be even like stylish, right? But invest a little. Don't worry about how they interpret it. No, the new modern employees don't look at all that. They just want to see some relevance, right? To me, if they're looking at you, whether you're beautiful or handsome or what, right? I don't join them, because if that's how they decide, it's not the company that I want, against my values. Simple. So, but yeah, you can opt to let go the photo, but then the prime real estate is very important, right? I'll show you that later. So that's prime real estate. Now, many ask, you had the question also, right? What's the right length? 2-page, 4-page, 6-page, forget it. Now, in US, Europe, it's 2 pages. But Asians, we are very, very good in relationship building. We love to talk. So how to keep 2 pages, right? But that doesn't mean you must have 6 pages, right? Because we are not so good in articulating, it's okay to have 4 pages, but whether it's 2, 3, or 4, as long as it's important information, don't skip. Right? Don't like 2 pages and then you let go. So forget about the pages first. You do your CV and then you cut down to some areas. So like personal information, you don't need like half page. Right? Speak in the language of the audience, not yours. As I said, what value you added, not that I do this, right? You must explain, because I did this, the employer benefited this way. So the outcome, because I achieved this outcome, right? Articulate the skills and value that you bring to the board, to the company. Cite international experiences, markets, countries, specialized knowledge in certain region. Avoid broad, very general statement, very, elaborate it further. Use benefit statement versus task statement. That's what I meant. Example, managing the day-to-day warehouse activities. It's like, okay, warehouse manager, you do that, right? But it's better, it will sound better when reduced inventory turn by 30%, resulting in savings of 2 million in managing the warehouse. Benefit statement versus task statement, right? Use action verbs versus collaborative verbs. Now, a lot of resumes, you copy and paste on your JD, so job description. So you can see, do that, do this, do that, do this. That's a lazy man. So that's wrong. So action verbs are more like drive, lead, strategize, right? Now, women, be surprised. So as I coach women leaders tend to be more, because of the personality, right? They are trained to be more humble, and they find that articulating the achievement sounds like they're bragging. And they tend to use the word support. So you'd be surprised, I interviewed this lady, a Malaysian working in the UK, global auditor, managing EMEA. Her CV is like support, assist, very, very, behind the scene, right? And when I spoke to her, she doesn't, but she's quite powerful position, right? But when I spoke to her, she doesn't come forward as, owning the space, right? You must own your space. So use more action verbs than those HR words, right? Show statistics and quantifiable benefits. As I said, when you explain the outcome, how many % savings, how much money you made, how much money you save, put the dollars and cents. People love to see dollars and cents. Yep. So quick common mistakes. Career objective versus executive summary. So if you're not a fresh graduate, then you should have an executive summary. List of responsibilities versus contribution to business. So resumes are also long because you tend to write like 10 shopping lists of what you do. You don't need that. Instead, remove responsibilities, you convert into contribution, what you have done for the business. Your language versus their perspective, what it means to them. Irrelevant experience or achievement. Yeah, so you put on the achievement, but you don't actually share achievements that they are looking for, right? Fanciful versus impactful. So a lot of CVs are very colorful, a lot of nice fonts, but tada you see, no content. Lack ownership, like I said, I assist, I support. Why can't you say I led, I drove? Yes, if you do voluntary work, please put that in your resume. It's useful. A lot of companies now, they're all investing to CSR and they also have the sustainability purpose projects. So they like to see employees who are involved in external activities. And last but not least, grammar and typo mistakes. It's embarrassing that a CV goes out with those mistakes. So far, any questions? I'm so good, right? Yeah. Yeah, I'll come to that later. Yeah. So, in other words, now you look at a CV when you go back, you review your CV and ask these questions. Now that you have written it, would a reader, the other side, would a reader who's not from industry understand what you wrote or what you meant? So try and simplify the language, right? If the reader, a HR director may not know a finance director or may not know a national account manager or a commodity manager. So, okay, think about that way so that it will force you to write in their language. Have I shared my biggest accomplishments, right? Have I expressed my true capabilities? Did I attribute the success of my work to my team that my own contributions didn't? Everything's like, oh, with the team I did this, with the team I did that, and you're not owning your space. Have I owned my space enough, right? So these are sample of CVs on Google, but to give a picture of what it should look like. So this a nice format. You don't have to copy the same format, but what I'm trying to say is, so your name should be a marketing. Do you remember it's a marketing tool, it's a prime real estate. So your resume should start with a name at the top, and don't be shy. We can use nice blue safest font, right? Blue font or black. But it can be like a headline, no? It's like marketing brand, it's your brand, right? It can be all caps lock, nice color. And you can see, right, they all write in different ways, right? So you can see the first 1/3 are the executive summary, right? So there's a different ways of writing. This is how Alan Roberts decided to write. So this is 1/3 or half of the page. It's a prime real estate. So you can see he calls it executive management, but you can call it executive summary. Now, after you have written a name, what you should be doing is, if you remember the me time, weekend in your balcony, just you and yourself and a glass of wine, you got to ask yourself, what are your expertise? Now, that expertise, I'll run through later with you. You pick up 3 of the best, and that comes under your name. And that's your headline. Who is Shireen? Right? 3 are the best. Right? Like this guy wrote here, right? Strategic planning, product marketing and management, global operations. The previous guy wrote expert in IPOs, VC equity fundraising, mergers and acquisitions. Richard Carter wrote capital raising, cost control, service and product development, global operations. So I'm sure of all your expertise, there'll be 2 to 3 expertise of yours. That's like a headline. And how to think of that is, there are many ways to ask yourself that, to arrive at that. What do you want to be known for? Or what people know you for, right? And if you're a finance manager, it doesn't have to be like finance, right? It can be even problem solver, turnaround, operations improvement. If there are 3 things I want to know about you, what is that? Not aspiration, what you hope to be known, it's not there. These are 3 areas you're very good at, not what you want to be good at. It has to be your areas of expertise. So then you have a name and you got these 3, and there are many ways of doing it. I'll show you one. There you go. My recommendation. So safest font, so some ask me what font to use. Safest font, if it's not the boring Times New Roman, is Arial. Right? But no cursive, fancy stuff, right? Unless you're in marketing creative, it's a different story. But safest is Arial. Then your name can be the one with the largest font, 18 or 20, you balance it off. But can you see below that? Area of expertise 1, 2, and 3. Can be also 4 if you want, but make sure it's not like 2, 3 lines, like just one nice headline. So it's your headline. What are your areas or key expertise. Therefore, the flow of your resume will be in that way, right? Full name, your photo on the left, and then executive summary. So bear in mind, executive summary is not a career objective, it's not, sorry, career summary, and it's not an aspirational statement. Again, it's not what I wish to be. I wish to lead an organization. It's not what you wish to, but what have you brought so far? So example, right? Mine will sound like brings over 25 years experience in hiring leadership team for global multinational companies with expertise in developing leaders, elevating performance, and improving business results. You never see in my resume, I mentioned about recruiting, because recruiting is one of the expertise. But my top expertise is identifying leaders. By recruiting, I'm identifying leaders. By recruiting the right leader, I'm improving business results. And I got proof for that. So whatever you have, you must have proof, right? Because then they ask you, okay, show me results, right? Okay. So how you do that is when you go back on your me time, you write all your achievements and you ask yourself, each of the achievement, what are your expertise? And you see the pattern, right? Now, the other reason why you don't get seen in job application is that all your CVs sound the same, because all of us go to Google Maharaja and copy down template. Right? So all of us have the same way of describing our strength. So my favorite is, you know, your strengths or your competencies. You don't need to use what I call Googleable strengths. People know me for that. Googleable strengths are like teamwork, duh, right? Honest, duh. Sorry. Yeah, honesty, teamwork, team player. It can be a phrase, don't worry. So your strengths can be a phrase. Those days, strengths are one word, right? Strengths can be a phrase. So when you do this exercise, I'll run through later, and you're doing a big favor for yourself, your resume will stand out from the rest. Imagine, right? You apply for finance manager. Yeah, there are 400 applications. Why would they see your CV? But now when you do this, you are standing out from the crowd, right? So yeah, so the areas of expertise you might have like 9. So you can rearrange that format. Like a table column, a table with 3 points or 4 points. You can even 15, right? Wow, it's very lengthy. But again, it's like I mentioned, right? An executive summary is not an aspirational statement, right? It's value that you bring to the company, whether it's profit and loss, you know, mentoring, leadership. Speak in their language, not your language. Example, especially engineers, they are so gung-ho about what they do, right? They use a lot of engineering, specialized technical names, right? HR won't understand. So you will convert into their smiling. Are you guilty of that? Right? Okay. So you got to convert into simple language anyone can understand, right? Sorry. Yeah. So this is the exercise I want you to do. So on a weekend, right, if you take an A4 paper, the first column is most significant achievement. Sorry, I didn't plan that way. Feel free to copy it. So most significant achievement on your first column, you write down your list of achievements and then you move horizontally, right? Every achievement, you look at it, reflect, and ask yourself, what are the areas of expertise? The same achievement, ask yourself, what are the strengths that you brought? Third, areas for development, what you have learned, you know, along the way, and what are your weaknesses? Fourth is what you enjoyed most. That's your purpose. What you enjoyed most. You will discover that. So as you complete row by row, you'll be surprised that you'll then see a pattern of areas, the same areas of expertise will appear. 3 to 4 common ones: people management, turnaround, you know, stakeholder management, government relations. Those are expertise now. Strengths are like, you know, working together with people, identifying root cause of problems, right? Every achievement. Then when you see them keep coming out, those are unique to you. So during an interview, whichever angle they come and shoot you, right, you got proof to supply. So a lot of people, they claim strengths in their resume, but they're not able to justify it with a achievement, right? But by doing this, now you have a journal. It's a live journal. So every interview they go for, you're already prepared. And any question they ask is the same thing. So if they ask you about problem solving, achievement number 8, okay, tell them what's the achievement about, right? And share that other details. So when you do this table, that's when you then create your executive summary. Once you've done this table. So don't jump into CV straight away. Before your CV is this journal. I call it your unique value proposition that's unique to you. Do this first. So once you've done this, then you see a series of areas of expertise, you see a series of strengths, you see a series of areas for development and what you enjoy most. And that's when you string your executive summary. I'm Raj with 25 years of experience. My area of expertise includes stakeholder management, business process improvement, executive hiring. My strengths include finding root cause of business issues, interviewing people, right? Finding the right talent. Areas for development is for yourself. Don't say I'm weak in this, I'm weak in that. That's for yourself so that you know the kind of job you shouldn't apply for. Areas for development can be like, I hate paperwork. So if the job that comes to me and that involves paperwork, I won't apply. Right? Enjoyed most, you'll see also in your achievements, right? What you enjoy most may not be that work. No? What you enjoyed most could be working with the people, not the project itself, working with people, right? Like in my case, when I did mine, what I enjoyed most, I noticed, I like to look for trouble companies. I don't necessarily hire for the glamour companies. I like to look for trouble companies because that's where they need the best people, and it's not easy finding the best people. So what I enjoy most is turning around companies, right? Recruiting, yes, but I enjoy turning around companies, right? So if you do this, then you'll be able to write an executive summary. Any questions? I'm so good, man. I tell you, no questions. Tomorrow there'll be 40 people already hired, got offer letter already. No, but please don't feel shy to ask questions.
Any questions? Are there any questions online as well? Okay.
Okay.
Maybe I'll just ask one question. It's probably a little touchy, but you have hired for C-suites and executive boards. Does their place of graduation matter? Local graduates, Ivy Leagues, does it matter?
It's one of the factors, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So I've seen people from Ivy League, but they lack EQ. They got good IQ, but lack EQ. What's the point? I've seen local graduates who are doing very well.
Because I think what we sometimes observe that the local graduates tend to undersell. So they don't shine through in the CVs, but in retrospect, they turned out to be really good hires. On the other hand, and this is not really generally, we've seen some really, really good Ivy Leagues, but there are some who oversell, perhaps, and they do well in the interviews, but not necessarily good hires. That we run into problems like that.
Yeah.
So how do you distinguish?
So I would call this a form of unconscious bias, right? So unconscious bias prevails at work, especially with gender, right? Or women, or if you're getting married, or you may not last long, you might take a career break. So likewise, this is what you call a halo bias. A ring on your head. If your father is Datuk Sherin, Datuk Lim, wow, she must be good, huh? Rich family, stable family, right? So there's one form of bias. So there's some people like to use their Datuk in the resume. The father is Datuk, they use in the resume. And my reaction is, if you had to use your father's name to sell yourself, I don't see you, because you're selling someone else's strength, right? So likewise, university is not right for any recruiter or CEO to decide solely based on Ivy League. Right? They should learn how to look at the whole total picture, right? But it's a good point. So whether you're local or foreign grad, yes, but let's not deny it. Ivy League and foreign education actually does give people exposure in networking, multicultural, a lot of different benefits, which even local grads can still get it if you join the right company. Your first job should be ideally a multinational company, right? So you can still attain those and move faster than an Ivy League grad. Okay, so this is how you write your achievements. So a lot of people struggle writing the achievements. It still doesn't sound like an achievement, right? So a good, and this is again, right, it carries forward your interviews. So when a lot of interviews, if you notice, I told you about earlier, I was joking, but it's the truth. A lot of candidates, after the interview, when my team calls them, how's the interview? Oh, very good. Tell me more. Every question I answered so well, no questions asked. Then my consultant calls the client. Hey, how was Sherin? Okay lah. Hey, but she called me, she said, very good. She answered a lot of questions. You didn't ask questions? Yeah, because she talked so much, I can't ask questions. And why do they talk so much? They don't go prepared. They think that, okay, for this, in their mind, right? Okay, for this, I'll pull this answer. For this, I'll put, they think it's a server, IBM server, right? At the end.
Yeah. Now, what kind of questions do you expect?
Okay.
Sorry.
Have you always been an A-class student or not? Because you jumpstart my last point, But it's a good point. So in an interview, since he asked, let me address that. So in an interview, right? At the end, normally they ask you, okay, we're done with the interview. Any questions, right? And typically all candidates switch off the engine because they think, interview over already, right? No question, no question. But I tell you, right, that's the most precious moment. Because you know why? To me, I want to see, first of all, have you thought about this job thoroughly? That you have asked questions, that you have questions to ask. Second, I want to know what kind of questions you ask. And third, I want to know how do you ask questions? Because that part is a reflection of if you join my team in a meeting, do you ask questions? Do you ask valuable questions? So the kind of questions you ask, don't ask those trivial questions which they may have already answered. How big is the team? Some ask the shock sensitivity question, do you think I fit the role? Right? So always ask forward thinking questions, forward, right? To show that you're thinking ahead. Things like, where do you see this department in 2 years? What's your aspiration, right? You can ask things like, if I'm appointed, what should I work on in the first 6 months? What should I be aware of? Think of those forward thinking questions. But the Q&A part is the most important part. It's another way of selling yourself if you didn't get a chance to sell earlier, right? Yeah, so the reason why people blabber is because, first of all, they never spend time and prepared for the interview, overconfident. Second is, I don't blame them, they didn't get the training. Third is, a lot of us want to explain the background first because we all weekends watch drama, right? All of you watch TV series, drama, Tamil drama, Chinese drama. So used to giving all the background before giving the answer. No, give the answer first, then give a short background. So we are tempted to give the background because we're worried that I may miss the chance. You may not ask me later. So don't give the background yet because then you end up beating around the bush. Answer the question straight away and give an example, full stop. Why? It's like marketer. You give a short example to instill their interest, instigate, and they ask questions. Right? Then there's a two-way conversation. Now, so how do you then shorten the answer? Follow the STAR format. Again, it's quite common in interview techniques. STAR is S for situation. So when you ask about your people management skills, yes, back in 2018, in, let's say, Google, I was the HR manager. We had to implement a work from home concept, full stop, situation, task. And that required my team to plan workflow, action, and what I did. So action is what you did, not what they all did, what you did. So more specific, right? I had to put together a team, describe all their tasks, have time schedule, reporting line, and every day I got the plan discussed. We rolled out within a week, results. Within a week, 500 of our employees were able to switch to work from home. We had no issues. First day we had some internet issues, and after that, example. So it's nicely wrapped up. Situation, quick background, quick. Task, what needs to be done? Action, what did you do? Finally, the result, the outcome is a nice ribbon. Then you stop there, then they ask you more questions. Right? This is how you train yourself to be straight to the point. Answer a question, example. Answer a question, example. That is why the homework is very important, right? So that you remember this. Right? And it's good to have it as a life document. Your career journal, it grows, the list grows, right? So yeah, so this is how STAR works. Any questions? Oh yeah, I thought I'm damn good. Got a question to ask.
Because you are not good.
Sorry?
This question is asked not because you are not good, but it's a challenge that I have been facing before, right? So the jobs that I wanted always came months later.
Sorry?
The jobs that I wanted always came months later after I got an offer like 3 months before. Then they came later. Is there any possible way to avoid this, or because could it be because of the platform that I was using was not good or something like that.
So you're saying that when you applied for a job, when you're looking for a job, that job never came out.
I knew what I wanted, so I applied a few, right?
Mm.
The first choice came months later.
Oh, okay.
Experienced this like 3 times.
Yeah, you can't help it. But there's one question that you're asking, right? I think you mentioned to me. Back in those days,
Should we call back when we
Correct.
haven't heard?
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
correct. So one good homework that you should do is every company they apply for, write down when did they apply, what's the position, find out their phone number, find out the contact person. Do what others don't do. Those days when we apply for jobs, 1995, right? It's more traditional. I'm not sure those in my generation. You're all very young. All of you are very young. But we used to have a journal, where I applied and so on, right? And then you must call them. Can you imagine now with work from home, WhatsApp, how often do people call? So when you call, they remember you. And it's okay to call every 2 weeks. It's okay, right? In fact, it shows that you are determined, you're following up. So that's one way of shortening that now. Yeah. But never give up. So to me, if you have already gotten a job, do your best for next 2 years, come back to the company again. Right?
Yeah, we have a question from an audience online. Should we ask about the pay in an interview?
No. You can ask at the second, third interview. Never ask about pay until they ask. So the trigger is they ask, not you ask. Because when you search for a job, what I really want to know is how committed are you in the job? How committed are you to move? And when you talk about salary, then I'll be worried that so you're more interested in the money than the job, right? So the protocol is let them ask about salary, then you talk about it.
So yeah, I just want to check, does this include listing all the past job histories in the resume?
Yeah, I'll come to that. You
Oh,
must.
Okay, all right.
Now, on that point, since you brought it up, some would even ask, if I had a job for 3 months, do I still put it in? Please put it in. I'd rather put it in than not putting in, and they accuse you of hiding information. Right? You rather put it in and find a way, if there's a negative reason you left, find a way to put it. But I'd rather be upfront and honest. Right? Yeah, so when you write your accomplishments, one way to check whether you're speaking in your language or their language, ask yourself, so what? So what? So what? Close the books on time. So what? Therefore, reducing reporting time and making decisions faster. So always ask, so what? In other words, I as a reader, I want to know, I know you have these strengths, but how do I benefit? How can I benefit? So always convert into the value. Therefore, achieving this. Therefore, profits went up. Therefore, reducing attrition, resignation. Right? Yep. So it's all about what's in it for me, not you. So when you apply for a job, what's in it for the company now? Executive summary, about 300 words. Font size, Arial 10, 11, not too tiny. Simple formattings, don't use all this bombastic, colorful stuff, right? Lots of data, quantifiable, and lots of benefit selling, as in like outcomes. So that's your executive summary. Lack of ownership, hold on, sorry. Please help me. I think I missed one part. Yeah. So I've just covered now, up to now, the prime real estate. After that, it's all easy. So after that, remember your job history? I've covered that. Also, employment history. So your personal information and your qualification, education goes the last page. Once you've done the executive summary, then you can start your first job. Same thing. I repeat earlier, right? Don't list down 10 things that you do. You don't need that. That's why your resume is long, right? You can even have one paragraph of what you do, but I rather have 5 to 10 achievements. That makes a big difference, right? Or 5 achievements, right? So I rather replace my list of tasks to achievements. Then you go on every company, right? When you write about each company, start off with reporting to whom? So reporting to finance manager, I was responsible for, right? And manage a team of 3. So in the paragraph, who you report to, who do you manage, and what you're doing generally, and then list of achievements. And you go on until the first job, and then your education, qualification. Don't forget, if you were If you went for any short-term leadership program, 6 months program, 1 year program, you can put all that in, right? If you have any special skills, put all that in, right? So we have now 5 minutes, right? So the 5 minutes is now, yes. Yes, yeah. So, and when do you put it? So some people will say that referees will be provided upon request. Some will just flash it. No right or wrong. Because I rather put referees will be provided upon request, because some naughty HR managers, they'll call and talk, right? So you got to be careful, because some referees are very important people. They don't like to get calls without being informed, right? But when you're young, so as you go up the ladder, when you're a fresh graduate, it's good to put the referees. So referees are referees, right? So people who you have worked with, not friends, and some do that, friends, because I can't blame them, right? But ideally, your former boss, and then your colleague at your peer level, a regional boss, someone who can talk to them about your job, someone who has worked with you and they know about your work. That's the purpose of a referee, right? So and how many referees? Normally 2 is good enough. When we do reference checks, we ask for 4. Yeah, because some referees are being prepped what to say. So, so we ask for 4 referees and we randomly do 2 reference checks.
Yeah, I generally inform my referees before I put their names in.
Yeah, get the permission first before you put the name in. So now, once I've done this, right, your LinkedIn is very easy. So your LinkedIn is your executive summary. So in LinkedIn, you have summary. Your executive summary is well written, copy and paste here. Except your LinkedIn is not your resume. So don't put your full resume story there. So every job, just what do you do? 1 or 2 achievements, very brief. It's for people to get to know you. So it's similar things, right? Like today when I met you, I don't know, like, I'm Raj, my executive summary is this, I studied in UK, you don't. So LinkedIn is a networking event. You just say briefly so that they connect with you to find out more about you. Right? So LinkedIn, again, I try to speed up. The world of recruitment has changed now. Those days, straightforward, you write in, then now you email one person. Nowadays, recruitment is being done through many sources. You have agencies, you have search firms, but now in LinkedIn, even the bosses hire directly. The reason being, sometimes they don't get the CVs they want from HR, they get frustrated. On their own in LinkedIn, they so LinkedIn, the way you imagine it, is a virtual networking actually, right? So they always, so I only know her, so I keep repeating her name, right? So if I always see Shireen posting about pharmaceutical healthcare, and I'm pharmaceutical, and I want a very smart medical advisor, and she's my connection, and she always appears, I'll call her for coffee. Hey, come and have a chat. She may not know why, right? That's one. Second is, she may see my company advertising a job, and it's advertised. If she applied, there'll be 400 applicants. She'll be right at the bottom. But now she knows me. Hi, Raj. I've been following your page. Very interesting company. By the way, you have advertised for this position. Would you mind telling me who should I write to? Write directly. I encourage candidates to write directly. Don't go through the system. They won't have time, right? So, or Raj, I believe this position reports to you. Can I share my CV with you? Why not? If you've been active. If you connected with me like 1 year but never stay in touch, now suddenly job will come to me, I don't know you. So please post like once, twice a week, right? A quick tip for posting, right? So when you say, what, post 3 times a week, what to write? No. In LinkedIn, you can first share articles. So if you have nice articles, they came across others sharing, you share, right? So that's one, you can do easily, right? But don't just share with no message. No. Oh, I love this article that says about food crisis, and I think it's happening in Malaysia, right? And I like what Raj said. So another lazy man way of writing messages, in that article, if there's any paragraph that you see, wow, powerful message, put that, oh, I like what Shireen said about this. That means they know that you're not just sharing, you're also sharing your viewpoint. That's one. That is kacang putih. If you have a lot of articles, you share. So I'm on Twitter, I'm in Facebook, I'm in LinkedIn. I read Twitter in the morning, my breakfast, I have coffee. I like it, then I share LinkedIn. I cross-share. I don't share within LinkedIn, because everybody is sharing, same article. That's one. Second is share about your industry. So LinkedIn is not about me. So a lot of people I speak to, they get tired of LinkedIn because everybody's like, oh, today I was with Mahathir, or today I was with Tony Flanders. It's like, me. It's like, hello, you're not adding value to the network. It doesn't have to be about you. If you're a shy person, no, LinkedIn is not about you. LinkedIn is about what you're giving to others. So sharing articles. Can be also sharing about your profession. So if you're into fashion designing, check out this new fashion coming out in Singapore. Right? Third can be about you and your team. Oh, had a wonderful lunch with my team for launching a good product. Again, it's not about me. Oh, I'm the best manager in my team. No, it's about my team. We launch a good product. See, so the limelight doesn't have to be about you, but there are 3 types of content you can share, which then tells me about you. So my content, for example, a lot on diversity, a lot on leadership, a lot on looking for jobs, and then 1 or 2 on more relaxed stuff about me, right? Don't try and be jack of all trades, master of none. Today I talk about food crisis, tomorrow I talk about flood, then I talk about diversity, then I talk about politics. So choose 2 or 3 topics that is close to you and talk only about the topic. That's your personal branding, right? Therefore, when Shireen next to me, oh yeah, she always writes about sustainability. Yeah? Okay, come and see me for coffee. So that in 5 minutes is social media. Done.